Welcome everyone to book study 16 of Unfolding Consciousness, Exploring the Living Universe and Intelligent Powers in Nature and Humans. We are going to continue the AI discussion because that is a hot topic, especially right now. And it seems so over the last few months. It's just been blowing up. Will artificial intelligence take over the world? Will AI take over the world? Will the robots take over humanity? That's what we're going to cover today. So before we go into that, I wanted to give a shout out to Chris Sheridan. Chris, thank you for watching. It is an intimate crowd here. That's okay. Chris gave a recognition to what I was mentioning in the last video, which is a perfect way of looking at what we're looking at, which is a song by AC/DC called Who Made Who? And the lyrics are, who made who? Who made you? If you made them and they made you, who picked up the bill when who made who? Who made you? Who turned the screw? So that's a very good way of looking at what we're talking about today. So let's get started. Book study 16, we're in volume number 2, and we're in chapter 7, continuing. Here we go. By Dr. Eddie Villamoria. Eddie wrote this down. He's compiled this, put it all together. This is not something he just came up with. These are the ancient teachings, the perennial philosophy that belong to everybody and solely to none. It is in a 4-volume set, and we're doing these book studies so we can get these out into the world, because right now they're only available in the hardback form. 4-volume set that you see. There's a 20% discount here if you need, and there are ebooks on the way. They are actually happening as we speak. So those will be able to go out all over the world. But meanwhile, this is the most important book I have ever come across, ever. And I'm here to share them with you every Sunday. Let's go. Who made who? And we're on page 115 of volume 2, chapter 7. Last week, will artificial intelligence take over the world? Our yellow post-it notes this week that are little study guides that Eddie puts in the text are confusion caused by category errors. Google scientists predict when machines will outrun human intelligence. Yale University scientist believes that computers have minds. Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking warn that AI pose a threat to humanity. And can such serious warnings be ignored? Can they? Last week we were talking about the fascinating analogy of software being made up of coded instructions given to hardware. We can dismantle and dissect the hardware with a scalpel and view it under a microscope if we wish to. We can do that, but we cannot dissect the software. This is a recap from last week to find out the mathematical code or the program or the software programmer who came up with that program. The structure of software and hardware are completely different, but software is embodied by hardware. Without hardware, software would have no significance, and vice versa. One depends on the other. And then I asked if that sounded familiar last episode. So we continue, page 115, volume 2. This idea of incarnation of entirely different structures concludes that mind, embodied by brain, is a good example of what Eddie calls errors by category. It is argued, reasonably at first, that the brain has its own structure, and so does the mind, which demonstrates reason, memory, imaginations, emotions, and happens to be conscious, whatever consciousness means to materialists. Now, materialists, remember, anybody who just solely believes that the physical world is all that there is. That's materialism, the physical world. But the content of the mind cannot be dissected with a scalpel, or it cannot be seen through a microscope. It can't. Or it can't be revealed by an MRI. Just FYI, an MRI means magnetic resonance imaging. So, however, the structure of the brain can indeed be dissected and seen, because the brain is a dense mass of physical matter made up of neurons and other cells. Yet they say the mind cannot exist apart from the brain, which completely contains it. Therefore, minds are to brains as software is to computers, and minds cannot exist without brains, just as software cannot exist without hardware. Meaning, now this is the opposing argument, listen, meaning that minds and software are mere philosophical concepts. Now, some computationalists, and we talked about computationalists in the last episode, that means those who believe that the human mind is only an information processing system and that thinking is a form of computing. Some computationalists take this belief to the extreme. American computer scientist, inventor, and futurist, his name is Ray Kurzweil, who works unsurprisingly at Google, predicts that in 6 years from now, in the year 2029, computers will outsmart humanity, and that the behavior of computers will be so similar, so identical to that of humanity, of humans, that we won't even be able to tell them apart. Eddie notes right here that computers do outsmart us in the world of today when it comes to number crunching and things like that. But that is only because humans have designed and programmed them to do so. And after 2045, Kurzweil claims that machine intelligence, get this, machine intelligence will dominate human intelligence to such an extent that humans will no longer be capable of understanding the machines at all. By which time we humans will have begun a process of what he calls machinization, or what Kurzweil refers to as transhumanism. Transhumanism, which is the combining of humans and machines. Not bionics, this is beyond bionics, by cramming both the human body and their brains with silicon or other types of semiconductors, these chip implants, along with fine-tuning the genetic material. Now, Eddie covers way more of this in Volume 3, and the editor-in-chief of the magazine called The Week, he sums it up this way. He points out that such predictions are a geek's pipe dream. A geek's pipe dream, because being like a human is not to be a human, and highfalutin fancy machine codes and algorithms may allow computers to emulate humans, but that does not make them human. Yale University American computer scientist and authority on artificial intelligence, his name is Drew McDermott, believes that biological computers, which he calls the human brain, that's what he means by that, differ only superficially from modern digital computers. He goes on to say that according to science, humans are just a strange animal that arrived pretty late in evolution, and that computers have minds. And that his sworn purpose in life, and this is a quote, his sworn purpose in life is to increase the plausibility of the hypothesis that we are machines and to elaborate some of its consequences. Now, such logic would also mean that animal brains are also computers. Now, Kurzweil and McDermott are, unfortunately, they're not alone. Many world scientists and entrepreneurs whose names will be familiar on the world stage have been passionate in pointing out their grave concerns about the threat of artificial intelligence and the ethical dilemma of the moral responsibilities we give to robots. Now, the Swedish philosopher, his name is professor of Oxford University, and he is the director of strategic AI research. Okay, his name is Nicholas Bostrom. Nicholas Bostrom warns that supercomputers will outsmart us. Now, he believes this, that we will have superhuman AI within the first third of the next century, and that makes it about 100 years from now. And how fast we can expect superintelligence to be developed once there is a human-level AI. This is over the next 100 years. Here's a name you're going to know, Elon Musk. Elon says that AI poses a greater threat to humanity than nuclear war. He says, if I had to guess what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that. Elon is joined by Stephen Hawking and hundreds of others warning that AI is potentially more dangerous than nuclear weapons. Bill Gates also expresses concern about artificial intelligence. He has said that I am in the camp that is concerned about superintelligence. First, he says the machines will do a lot of jobs for us. They'll do the jobs for us, but they won't be superintelligent. That would be positive if we manage it well, if we keep it under control. A few decades after that, though, the intelligence is strong enough to be a big concern. Well, can the warnings from the world's leading aficionados of artificial intelligence and computationalism then simply be dismissed as just the fantasies of nerds? We can't really do that, as their words carry weight and they pack a huge celebrity punch. Their ideas are also extremely relevant to the whole question of the nature of consciousness and mind. So it's important we pay attention to them. We, and this is the most important part of today's video, we must uncover and recover our humanness at all costs. We must hold our ground, and the impending war against the man equals computer, and then computer surpasses man, this war has got to be fought in earnest. Therefore, we need to reveal the widespread mistaken beliefs by these powerful, they're big players, global AI experts. But first, to be fair, we need to understand their argument and why they feel the way they do. I get so into it. And that's the end of today's book study. This is book study 16. We're going to continue. I think this is a fascinating subject. There is so much in here. This is unfolding consciousness. Will AI take over the world? From what I understand, and from what I've seen in this book, and from my experience, no, absolutely not. Again, because you are looking like a human, you can emulate a human. That does not make you human. That does not make you a human. We will talk more about this next week. Remember, you get 20% off of the hard copy 4-book set. Thank you to Chris Sheridan. Thank you, Chris, for being here. Thank you for any of you joining us here on this journey. I do these once a week. You will be seeing Eddie quite a bit more on YouTube. He has a lot of appearances coming up, and this is going to blow up. I believe this is going to be a lot bigger. He's got appearances coming up in March. That is going to put UC, that is my slang for unfolding consciousness, on the map. And we're just doing these because I want to get this information out there to you. Again, if you're a student of the ancient teachings of Theosophy, Theos meaning God, Sophia meaning wisdom, these ancient teachings are all in here. Science is in here. You have philosophy, religion, science, the commonalities, the thread that runs through all of them. Look for those commonalities. And the truth is out there. It's true. In the Theosophical movement, they say there's no religion higher than truth. This is not about religion. This is about a way of living. These are instruction manuals for life. And I have never seen a text like this one. This is like the secret teachings of all ages for the new millennium. I believe that once you get a hold of these teachings, there are links to other books online. You don't have to buy the book. These teachings belong to everybody. They're out there. They're online for free. Once they are applied, they will help and change your life. I believe it will help lead to a better world for all of us. So thank you for being here today. And I will see you next Sunday. I love you.